despejado. Hay una sensación del verano caliente, bonita, pero y viernes técnicamente cerramos la semana completa de julio y se ha despejado un poco porque prácticamente ya van a ser las 6. Hasta ahora grabo porque tuve un día ocupado, bonito, productivo, pero voy a dedicar a lo que es, mm, en mi caso, lectura de inglés, porque estoy determinada a usarlo, ya que vivo en Norteamérica y porque me puede servir en muchos sentidos. Soy mamá, el hecho de que mi hija, digamos, a diferencia de mí, nació y lo tiene más como parte de su lengua primera, digamos, habla español, y pero con niños que comparten el parque o si luego ve práctica y a mí me gusta eso, y pero no significa que yo no puedo aprender y usarlo también, porque como estoy aquí, me sirve y a mí me gusta aprender. Entonces, justamente voy a compartir la lectura y recuerden que hemos, hemos hecho esta cuestión. Ayer nos quedamos en la, déjenme recordar, 58. Hoy avanzaremos a las 70. A propósito de que justamente estamos por terminarlo. Y entonces voy a comenzar recordándote que todo plan no importa. Somos mente, cuerpo y alma. Con la mano en el corazón se los debe disciplinar, preparar, buscar una forma es estudiando y como estudias leyendo. Y como el protagonista es el libro, entonces yo les compartí el libro y dice, nos quedamos aquí. 1 minute reprimes summary 5901. The 1 minute reprime works well. You, number one, tell people beforehand you are going to let them know how they are doing and in no uncertain terms. The first half of the reprime. Number two, reprime people immediately. Number three, tell people what they did wrong, be specific. Number four, tell people how you feel about what they did wrong and in no uncertain terms. Number five, stop for a few seconds of uncomfortable silence to let them feel how you feel. The second half of the reprieve. Number six, shake hands or touch a way that lets them know you are honestly on their side. Seven, remind them how much you value them. Remind them how much you value them. Number eight, reaffirm that you think well of them, but not of their performance and the situation. Recuerden los cognados, palabras que se ven similar, parecido mucho, se ven, se escuchan similar, parecido mucho a otro. Eh, los cognados es una palabra que se ve, se escucha similar, parecido mucho, en este caso situation. Significan lo mismo, pero en diferente idioma. Estamos leyendo en inglés. Number 9, realize that when the reprime is over, it's over. Reprime summary. The young man may not have believed in the effectiveness of the 1 minute reprime if he hadn't personally experienced its effect. There was no doubt that the feel uncomfortable and he did not want to experience it again. However, he knew that everyone made mistakes now and then, and that he might very well receive another reprimand someday. But he knew if it came from the 1 minute manager, that it would be fair, that it would be a comment on his behavior and not on his work as a person. As he headed, as he headed toward the 1 minute manager's office, he kept thinking about the simplicity of 1 minute management. All there of the secrets Masons 1 minute goals, 1 minute praises, and 1 minute reprimes. But why do they work? He wondered. Why is the 1 minute manager the most productivity manager in the company? Number 61. When he got to the 1 minute manager, his secretary said, "You can go right in. He's been wondering when you'd be back to see him." As the young man entered the office, he noticed again how clear and uncluttered it was. He was greeted by a warm smile from the 1 minute manager. "Well, what did you find out in your travels?" he asked. "A lot," the young man said enthusiastically. "Tell me what you learned," the manager encouraged. "I found out why you call yourself a 1 minute manager. You said 1 minute calls with your people to make sure they know what they are being held accountable for and what good performance looks like. You then try to catch them doing something right so you can give them a 1 minute praises. And then finally, if they have all the skills to do something right and they don't, you give them a 1 minute reprimand." "What do you think about all that?" asked the 1 minute manager. "I am amazed at how simple it is," said the young man, "and yet it works. You get results. Result. I am convinced that it certainly works for you." 62. The 1 minute manager explains. Terminamos. Aquí desde aquí comenzó explain. And it will for you too if you're willing to do it. If you're willing to do it, the manager insisted. "Perhaps," said the young man, "but I will be more likely to do it if I could understand more about why it works." That's true of everyone, young man. The more you understand why it works, the more apt you are to use it. I'd be happy, therefore, to tell you what I know. Where do you want to start? Well, first of all, when you talk about 1 minute management, do you really mean it takes a minute to do all the kinds of things you need to do as a manager? Not, no, not always. It just is a way to say that being a manager, it's not as complicated as people would have you believe. And also managing people doesn't take as long as you think. So when I say 1 minute management, it might take more than a minute for each of the key elements like goal setting, but it is just a symbolic term, and very often it does take only a minute. Let me show you one of the notes I keep on my desk. When he looked at the young man, so the best minute I spend is the one I invest in people. The best minute I spend is the one I invest in people. 64. The 1 minute manager explains. It's ironic. The managers say most companies spend 50% to 7% of their money in people's salaries, and yet they spend less than 1% of their budget to train their people. Most companies, in fact, spend more time and money in maintaining their buildings and equipment than they do on maintaining and developing people. I never thought of that, the young man admitted. But if people get results, certainly makes good sense to invest in people. Exactly, the manager say. I wish I had someone invest in me sooner when I first went to work. What do you mean? The young man asked. Well, in most of the organizations I worked in before, I often didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. No one bothered to tell me. If you ask me whether either I was doing a good job, I will say either I don't know or I think so. If you ask it why I thought so, I will reply I haven't been chewed out by my past lately, or no news is good news. It was almost as if my main motivation was to avoid punishment. That's interesting, the young man admitted, but I'm not sure I understand it. Then he added anxiously, in fact, if it is all right with you, maybe I could understand things better if I could get to some of my why questions. Let's start with 1 minute goal setting. What does it works? What does it work so well? 55. Why 1 minute goals work? Página 50 page. Why 1 minute goals work? Page 65. You want to know why 1 minute goals work? The manager said, fine. He got up and began to pace slowly around the room. Let me give you an analogy that might help. I've seen a lot of unmotivated, unmotivated people at work in the various organizations I've been employed in over the years, but I've never seen an unmotivated person after work. Everyone seems to be motivated to do something. One night, for example, I was bowling and I saw some of the problem employees. at work from my last organization. One of the real problem people who I remembered all too well took the bowling ball and approached the line and rolled the ball. Then he started to scream and yell and jump around. What do you think? He was so happy because he got a strike. He had knocked down all the pins. Exactly. What don't you think he and other people are that excited at work? Page 66. Why minute calls? A ver la luz. What? Six, page 66. Why 1 minute calls work? Because he doesn't know where the pins are. Smiled the young man. I get it. I get it. How long would he want to bowl if there were no pins? Right. Same the 1 minute manager. Now you can see what happens in most organizations. I believe that most managers know what they want their people to do. They just don't bother to tell their people in a way they will understand. They assume they should know. I never assume anything when it comes to goal setting. When you assume that people know what's expected of them, you are creating an ineffective form of bowling. You put the pins up, but when the bowler goes to roll the ball, he notices there is a sheet across the pins. So when he rolls the ball and it slips under the sheet, he hears a crack but doesn't know how many pins he knocked down. When you ask him how he did, he says, I don't know, but it felt good. Page 67. Why 1 minute calls work? It's like playing golf at night. A lot of my friends have given up golf, and when I ask it, why they say because the courses are too crowded. When I suggested that they play at night, the laugh because who would ever play golf without being able to see the pins? It's it's the same with watching football. It's the same with watching football. How many people in this country? Hijita, por favor, estoy leyendo. ¿Cierras? Sí, repetimos. Dice, when I suggested that they play at night, they allow it because who would ever play golf? The same with watching football. How many people in this country would sit in front of their TVs on a Sunday afternoon or Monday night and watch two teams run up and down the field if there were no balls to shoot at any way to score? Yeah, why it's that? Asked the young man. It's all because clearly the number one motivator of people is feedback on results. In in fact, we have another saying here that's worth nothing. Nothing. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback keeps us going. Unfortunately, however, when mass managers realize The feedback on results is the number one motivator of people. They usually set up the art form of bowling. When the bowler goes to the line to bowl, the pins are still place, but now there is another ingredient in the game. A supervisor standing behind the sheet. When the bowler rolls the ball, he hears the crash of the falling pins, and the supervisor holds up two fingers to signify you knock it down to pins. Actually, the most managers say you go too. Vamos avanzando, page 68. Why 1 minute goals works? No, the young men smiled. They usually say you missed 8. Right on, say the 1 minute manager. The question I always used to ask was why doesn't the manager lift the sheet up so both he and his subordinate can see the pins? Why? Because he has the great American tradition performance review coming up. Because he has performance review coming up. Wondered the young man. Wondered the young man. Right. I used to call the Nihis, Nihisap, which stands for now I have you, you sup. Such managers don't tell their people what they expect of them. They just leave them alone and then sap. Then, when they don't performance at the decided label, what do you suppose they will that? What do you suppose they will do that? The young man inquired, being very. What do you suppose they will do that? The young man inquired, being very familiar with the truth in the manager's comments, so they can look good. Say the manager, what do you mean? So they can look good? Asked the young man. Net goals work, page 9. How do you think you would be valued by your boss if you rated everyone that reported to you at the highest level on your performance review scale? As a soft touch, as someone who could not discriminate between good performance and pure performance. Precisely, said the manager. In order to look good as a manager in most organizations, you have to catch some of your people doing things wrong. You have to have a few winners, a few losers, and everyone else somewhere in the middle. You see, in this country, we have a normal distribution curve mentality. I remember one time when visiting my son's school, I observed a fifth grade teacher giving a state capital test to her class. When I asked her why she didn't put atlas, atlases around the room and left the kids use them during the test, she said, I couldn't do that because all the kids will get 100%. As tau is it could be bad for everyone to do well. Y hoy llegamos al 70. Dice, why oh, oh, ¿qué pasó? 17. why 1 minute calls work. I remember once writing that when someone asked Einstein what this phone number was, he went to the phone book to look it up. The young man laughed. The young man laughed. You are kidding? No, I am not kidding. He said he never cluttered his mind with information he could find somewhere else. Now, if you didn't know better, the manager continued. What would you think of someone who went to the phone book to look up his own number? Will you think he was a winner or a loser? The young man grinned and said, a loser. Sure. The manager responded, I will too, but we be grown too. The young man nodded his agreement. Easy for any of us to make this mistake, the manager said. Then he showed his visitor the plaque he had made for himself. Look at, look at this, look at this. Miren, esto nos termina, quedamos aquí. Everyone is a potential winner. Some people are disguised, don't let their appearance fool you. Me quedo con esto. Everyone is a potential winner. Entonces, hemos terminado la lectura y solo les puedo recordar los information. Se ve parecido mucho. La información es poder. Si te gusta leer, además de que si tenemos un tiempo importante, significativo en el sentido, tenemos muchas aplicaciones. La realidad es que lo interioriza uno mejor cuando a mí me gusta leer, me está costando decir mamá, pero si comienzas con parecido mucho, se escucha similar, parecido mucho a otra, significa lo mismo, pero en diferente idioma. Information, en inglés, en español, información. Sean felices, yo les agradezco. Realmente esto de leer en inglés es mi forma de pues seguirme disciplinando. Sean felices. Tenemos un verano caliente, yo bendecida, ocupada. Que Dios los bendiga, disfruten y recuerda, tu ritmo, tus sueños importan y valen. Haz que cuente cada día y que sume. Yo feliz de blanco a propósito de la paz. Y les deseo paz, milagroso, bendecido, abundante fin de semana. Hoy es viernes 26 de julio y técnicamente estamos avanzando al peldaño 8 de agosto. Gracias por mirar. Si ya se suscribieron, gracias. Si no lo has hecho, te invitamos y mandamos saludos a todos los amigos, al amigo hermano inocente que andará ocupado y que nos mandó saludos. Que Dios los bendiga y les dé todo lo que sea para su bien. Paz y paz. Shalom, shalom.